A lot of us will tell somebody like, Haran, man, you called me up, you need a ride, so you ain't got an Uber, you need a ride tomorrow to the doctor's office. And I tell you I'm going to do it. Are you sure you can be there, Justin? Like, yeah, Haran, you got my word, dog. That's my word, I'll be there. I will leave my daughter at school or miss doing something else that was important to make sure I hold my word to Haran. But guess what most of us do when we tell ourselves we're going to wake up and go to the gym in the morning?
Yep.
Hit the snooze button. We don't hold our word to ourselves.
I said this to a customer the other day, all right, because they were questioning my integrity. And I said two things to my customer. I said, listen, I don't have a lot in this world. I'm not a rich man. I'm not wealthy. But what I do have is I got integrity. If I say I'm going to do a thing, I'm going to do a thing.
Facts.
Yeah.
If I say I'm going to do something, if I'm going to show up at this time, I'm going to show up at this time.
Do you know what I always say? I'm an asshole, but I have integrity about it.
That's integrity.
It's consistent.
All right, Justin.
Every time.
So check this out. I want you to, part of what we say here at the Real Energy Podcast is like we like to serve purpose. And look, man, I want you to help somebody. She's going to hate me.
What are you doing?
So
I don't know what he's doing.
my girl, I love her. I love her to death. She knows who I'm going to be talking about. I'm not going to look her in the face. Right? But she knows who I'm talking about. She has been struggling. And we're not going to disclose what she's struggling with, but she has been struggling. Tanya.
Oh.
You. And I think it's a mindset thing. We've talked about this, and it's a mindset thing. And what I would love for the takeaway from this podcast is the example that you take away from what Justin has divulged to us is that it takes a level of discipline to overcome the adversities that you have. And if you understand that this man got to where he's at now from where he started, the struggles that you're going through in your life right now comes down to the discipline.
Agreed.
I truly believe that.
I agree.
And we had a conversation weeks back, and I said, and one of my advices to you was that you have to start stacking wins, right? Whenever you see things going against you, life is just throwing shit at you, just everything's just hitting you all at the same time. You can't solve all of it at the same time. You know what I mean? You can't solve the world's problems. You can't solve your own problems. You can't solve everything at the same time. So if you look at all these things that are being thrown at you all at the same time, and you're trying to solve all these things at the same time, you will not, because you become overburdened and you become overwhelmed with what's going on. But you got to start stacking wins, because if you're looking at your totality of what's going on in your life, and you just become overwhelmed. So you got to start with some of the easiest wins in life, and what I consider easy for me wouldn't be considered easy for somebody else, but you just got to start stacking wins. So Justin, what I want you to talk about and serving purpose is just talk about that discipline, because I believe you have that dog in you. So we're not going to talk about that because everybody's not built that way, right? Because we can't emulate you. Nobody can emulate Kobe Bryant. Nobody can emulate Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? You can try, Isaiah Ryder tried to be Michael Jordan, but he's not that dog. He had that talent, but he's not that guy, right? Nobody's going to emulate Kobe Bryant. A lot of people are talented, but you don't have that dog. So talk about that discipline. Where does it come from? How do you do it? How do you stay motivated? Just educate people out in podcast land about being disciplined and what it takes to, achieve greatness.
So to not make this long and drug out, because there's a lot that can be said when it comes to, as you call it, having that dog and how to get the discipline. You got to understand, like, having more self-awareness, right? The more aware you are of yourself, the more you know your capabilities and potential. And then the more you know your capabilities and potential, and when you're stacking those wins, the more confident you become. The more confident you... So anything you're good at, anything you do good that you know you're good at, contributes to your happiness. And we all want to be happy.
100%.
It could be cutting hair. If you're good at cutting hair, you're happy when you're cutting hair. Right? So when you when you have that level of confidence and you know that brings you a sense of happiness, what are you going to do? More of it. More of it. And that's that winning, right? But what happens to a lot of people is they get complacent because they're so good at that thing. And they want that comfort zone because it's comfortable. So the more you understand that everything that makes you uncomfortable is your key to the success and the thing that you're looking for. If it's discipline, do what makes you uncomfortable. Get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because it makes you uncomfortable, but it will instill in you discipline. Because when you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning consistently, you establish a sense of self power that 90% of the world won't do that.
Nope.
Can it be 7:30?
If that's difficult for you, it has to be difficult. It's called self-affliction, self-imposed affliction.
Yeah.
Because we all have calamities and trials in life. We lose a loved one. You go to prison. You lose a limb. We have real adversity. But there's times where we get to certain levels where, man, life is good. And if you sit there in this chair, nice and comfortable, you start to lose. You're not winning anymore. You're complacent. And so in order to establish that discipline and win, you have to be uncomfortable. So face the discomfort as your comfort zone. Do what's hard for you. If it's hard to read 10 pages of a book, but you know that book holds the key to the thing that you want to learn to be that the thing that you want to learn is conducive to your vision. Like if it's cutting hair, and I don't know why I'm using that. I don't even have hair. So why I'm using that, but it could be anything. But if that's your vision, you have to have your vision first and foremost. Believe in yourself first and foremost, right? But the vision you have, we all have a vision of where we feel like who we are, who we should be, or who we want to be. I wanted to be a good dude. I wanted to be a good husband. I wanted to be a good father. So I can only partake in the daily habits that a good dude, a good husband, a good father would partake in. Everything else is irrelevant and unnecessary and not needed. So in order to get the discipline, you do what's hard for you, because that was hard for me. Not being able to cuss, as they say, like a sailor. Like, I could really hurt people's feelings with my tongue. So to watch my tongue was hard for me. To quit smoking, quit doing drugs. How many people can't stop doing drugs and alcohol because it's hard for them? It's too easy to it's easier to do drugs. It's easier to get high. It's easier to go and have fun and drink and party and relax and let your hair down. So you have to do what's hard for you in order to establish the discipline it takes to stack those daily wins. And the more wins you stack, the more unstoppable you become. That's when championships are won. That's when championships are at heart. Nobody can stop me. There's plenty of people in the world that's better than me, but guess what? In my mind, I'm the best of the best at anything and everything I do. I don't care what it is.
Ain't nobody gonna outwork me.
That's it.
I say that shit all the time. There's a lot of people that's more educated than me. But you ain't gonna outwork me.
You're Jamaican. That's always my answer. You're Jamaican.
You ain't gonna outwork me.
How come you can rely on a Jamaicanness and I can't rely on my Hungarianness?
Because he's doing it in the positive and you were doing the negative.
What's negative about
No,
being
what
a
the
vigilante?
Because you
Because I'm going to end up in jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
you have your belief in Islam. All right. So one of my questions, and we're gonna be wrapping up the podcast. So any questions that you guys have, let's throw it out. But one of my questions, just speaking to you, is what or who is your higher self?
My higher self, in terms of what?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Like what or who do you inspire to become? You know what I mean? Like, because you're talking about a lot of introspective aspects of who you have become, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's always somebody that or something that you aspire to be, right? I'll give you an example. I aspire to be the best person I can be to influence people for the positive, right? So my legacy, and I have it on my Facebook, my legacy is that I want to leave a legacy of this earth of helping others to become who they want to be. That's my legacy. That's who I inspire to be. You know, so if somebody meets me, I want to be unforgettable in your mind. Whether or not I'm unforgettable in a positive way or a negative way, I could care less. Like that doesn't matter to me. Like, if you hate me, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Not mine. I love me. So part of my question is, you know, do you have that person or that thing that you want to become or inspire to be?
Yeah. So for me, it's wealthy, fit, and, like you said, inspirational. So my purpose, as everybody's purpose in life, is, a lot of people are like, how do I find my purpose? It's in you. But your purpose in life is to just be the best person you can be and give that person to the world.
Whatever your version is, you know, just be that. You know what I mean? I'm unapologetically me. You know what I mean?
We know.
I am 100% unapologetic me. You know, she messes with me all the time about my individuality, right? You know,
That's how you know I like you.
in my loner self. She, you know, I've grown on her. You know what I mean? She when we first met, I don't think she liked me.
No, I didn't.
But I was okay with that. But I was okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm okay. I was okay with that, because you know why? I am 100% unapologetically me. So whatever that is to you, we talked about it. I actually find it funny when people unfriend me on social media. I find that shit funny, because I want to know what it was that was your final straw. Like, well, what did I say that was like?
They really went out of their way.
That's it. Oh, no, I'm gonna unfriend you. I'm like, you think that's gonna hurt my feelings? Like, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, all my Facebook friends could unfriend me tonight. All of y'all, if y'all don't like me, please unfriend me, because
This
I
apparently turned into
actually look at it. No,
Make
I'm
it
serious. No, I'm serious, because we talk about it.
I'm
Because
not going to do that. It takes too much time and effort. I'm not doing
But
it.
what I'm saying is that whatever you aspire to be, whoever you aspire to be, you have got to be unapologetically you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to be unapologetically you. So we're going to be closing the podcast here.
Wait, I have
Chris.
questions.
That's what I'm saying.
I have one.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I have one question. So I was just curious. So your mother grew up Catholic. She didn't practice, but she grew up, you know, and you did Islam. How did your family deal with that dynamic? Was it different for them, or was it just like, hey, whatever, as long as you're happy?
Exactly. Like nobody cared as long as I was doing the right thing. Like, if that's what's causing you to do good, keep doing it.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
Is your wife Islam too?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
How's
She
that
would be
dynamic? Oh, sorry.
I said she would be Muslim.
Oh, sorry.
Islam's the religion.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I understood what you were saying. As far as how is that dynamic, it's fine. We don't have children, so there's no like. I think I've met people who have that that issue possibly where it's like, well, trying to raise a child with
Both.
parents who have two different with two different
I've
religions.
got friends like that.
So, but for us, it's not an issue.
Okay, that's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that for both of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was an issue with my son's mom though, because she was Muslim, or she is Muslim, and me not being Muslim. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that she was that.
Oh yeah, that's a big issue.
That's a big issue, especially with her parents. Her parents forbid me to see her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she ended up having Jahan, and we were never together after that. I even tried to convert. I read the Quran and everything. I just it wasn't for me.
I'm just culturally Christian. I just like Christmas with the gift. Is that bad? I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I'm more spiritual than anything.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm religious
Yeah.
per se. I mean, I go to church, but
So what's the next move? What's on the horizon for Justin?
Just again trying to
Yeah.
money, right? No, but just trying to continue on getting the exposure like this, getting in front of the people who I can help, like just making an impact. Just trying to make a deeper impact, because everybody is struggling with something, from the most minute thing to some of us, we would brush it off like the waving of flies, right? To the most severe thing, to where it's like we can't grasp how anybody could go through something like that. So everybody's struggling with something, and there's ways to deal with that struggle. There's a way to deal with the struggle. Most of us are looking for this external answer.
True.
Instead of looking inside. The answer's all within.
It's
like
all
if you
there.
listen to your conscience, your heart is telling you what you need to do and what not to do
100%.
all day long. And regret
100%.
is your guideline. Anything you regret, that's a notification saying, don't do it again.
I have another question that just came up from your conversation. So I'm listening to you answer his question. Do you think that, or I don't know, maybe you've already thought about it or already doing it, of doing some sort of like, I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it community outreach, but like a program of some sort to help people, like teach them how to transition from prison life to regular life? Or, I mean, I know you have your fitness thing, but I feel like, especially since you're very good at speaking, I feel like you should be, I don't know why I'm saying this, but this is just how I feel, that you should be doing something some sort of program where you teach people how to do that, because that whole plan with the 2 years is amazing. You know what I mean? Like most people can't even think
Like
2 months ahead.
Teach people that are in prison
Like,
to get their way.
transition to real life.
Yeah, so that they don't come back, because I think what you did is fantastic, and I think it's definitely an example, and I don't think a lot of people have not only the knowledge, but they don't have the opportunity to even get the knowledge, because obviously someone's gonna have to come to you to get that information, whether it's you go to the prison, they come to the class or whatever, but a lot of people they're not thinking about it because they don't have the support, or they don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Even if you wrote a book and did it, I think it would be a great thing. That's it.
Yeah. Have you thought about writing a book?
So most people that go to prison, either think about writing a book or create a clothing line, right? But I do.
What?
What's the last one?
What's clothing line?
A
What?
clothing line.
That's
Yeah.
Like a t-shirt company or something?
Yeah. So I do have a book that I published. I created a book while in prison, because I had access to a computer, just Microsoft like 03, but you don't have internet. I didn't have internet access, but I did create a book. It's an activity book that bridges the gap between parent and child relationships. So, because for me, the biggest thing for me at one point throughout my incarceration was, how do I parent from prison? Because again, my mom was raising my daughter, and I know my mom doesn't have parenting skills. She's my mom. I mean, that's not saying anything bad about my mother. I love my mother, but she didn't have parenting skills, and there's a difference. So how do I parent from prison? phone calls with my daughter as she got older were, hey, hi, did you go to school today? Yeah. Did you eat lunch? Yeah. What'd you have for lunch? Chicken. Was it good? Yeah.
That sounds just like the conversation I have with my
I
son
was gonna
today.
say, that's all kids.
Today.
So
Yeah.
I created this workbook. It's an activity book. There's duplicates of every page. I fill out one page, and I send that with a blank copy of the same exact page to my daughter. She fills hers out and mails it back.
That's fantastic.
And so, like, the very first page of the book is titled "My Favorites," and it's just a list. It goes my favorite book, restaurant, food, color, just a bunch of little things, right? And so now, when I call her, I'm like, "Oh, your favorite color is black? That's weird. What makes you like black so much?" We have conversation. Oh,
So you created
she can
talking
see
points.
that I like spaghetti. She loves spaghetti. Oh, you're just like me. Like, now I have something. And then there's one page that's like, if I had 3 wishes, what would I wish for? And at 9 years old, if she wishes for a lifetime supply of Skittles and unicorns, I'm like, all right, maybe she's a little immature for her age. But if she wishes to end world hunger, I'm like, dang, at 9 years old, she's sharp. Here's how I can direct my conversation and my letters to her. So I was seeing how she's able to mature or lack thereof through this workbook, and it developed. It just bridged that gap that we were having.
How many? So you published it?
I did publish it. I fired my publisher last year. Amazon is out of copies, and I'm right now. I'm trying to figure out how to republish it and get it back on Amazon.
So all the listeners out there, another Amazon book coming out, right? We're gonna be on the lookout for it.
Should we reach out to Michelle? Because remember, Michelle is an author, 3 books.
Oh, yeah.
She has 3 books.
Yeah,
We're going to hook
our
you
friend.
up with. She went to school.
Well,
with us.
Eric, he just he published his Bitcoin book.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that you're gonna meet.
Okay.
See the same thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll hook you up with 2 people that will. They because Michelle, she has 3 books, and I think she was writing another one last time I checked.
Yeah, she was doing that journal,
Yeah.
like designing a journal for people to.
Yeah,
She
so
already
we'll
did
get you some contacts
Okay,
because
thank
they're published authors and they'll have that. Haran, anything else that?
No, I mean, I think I touched on.
Wait, he didn't answer my question though
What?
about the program.
So, and that's a great question. I did think about it, like you said, a long time ago. Every state has government funded programs for individuals. Most of them don't utilize them. Like, I'm talking about that classroom setting. You go sit in class and they go over, like, all the resources. They give you a packet. When you get released, they give you a packet of resources. How to get free stuff, get help with stuff. You even from Social Security cards, like all the things a person needs coming home, they give you that. Most of us don't utilize it. I didn't need to utilize it because I had already had, a step ahead. But everybody that I know that got that same packet never utilized it.
But do they give the packet, do you think, too close to the release time? Whereas if they started something like a year or 2 in advance, like you did, that it would be more helpful to people? Or is it just like you can give it to them,
Here.
but they're not going to use
Here.
it?
Yeah, and I can only speak from the people I cross paths with. Nobody wants to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the discipline, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to the discipline.
Again, yeah, the discipline, work. The work instills the worth. The more you put into anything, the more valuable it becomes. Whether it's a communication thing, like I said, from relationships to finances, the more work you put into it, the more valuable it is.
Well, the harder it is to attain, the more value it becomes to you.
Well, it's more meaningful. Nobody respects a person who everything is given to.
Yeah.
You don't respect that man. He just everything. He's got all the money, all the cars, and everything was just given to him. You got no respect for him because you know what it's like to work for yours.
Yeah.
So it's more meaningful when you got to work for it.
That's why a lot of millionaires and billionaires say they ain't leaving their kids shit.
Exactly.
You're going to have to work for it. Kevin O'Leary You know, he's adamant. He's like, no, I'm not leaving my kids anything.
It won't do them any good.
They got to work for it.
It's not going to do the kid any good.
They got to work for it. Patricia, you got anything else?
I don't, but I just want to thank you for coming on. I think this is an amazing story.
Amen.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having
I
me.
for one, am impressed with you. Not that you care, but I am.
Thank you.
Parting words?
I think I said what I needed to say. Great questions. Thank you for having me. And just for all the listeners, I guess as far as parting words, really, really, really be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself and stop believing the lies that you tell yourself. And you'll see different doors and things in your life change.
Where can they catch you on speaking next?
I will be on stage in Nashville, Tennessee at the Gaylord Opryland. I always say that funny because it sounds weird.
It's a weird word.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Great Opry. You're right.
Opry.
Opry.
Okay.
Opry. Opry.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'll be there next in March.
Okay.
Socials?
Instagram is at Danforth_fitness. And then Facebook is just Justin Danforth.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Real Energy Podcast. Folks, we're everywhere. Apple, we're on TuneIn, we're on
iTunes,
Spotify. Wherever you get your podcast, you'll be able to find us. As always, peace.